Can you give like a summary of the collection so that people can get a good idea of what we're talking about today?
Yeah, sure. It's always hard to summarize a collection of short stories since it's not a single storyline like a novel. But even with that said, I can tell you that when you put together a collection of short stories, you do need to find a title. And theoretically, that should at least suggest some kind of thematic coherence for the whole book or cohesion. So I named it Displaced Persons after one of the stories in the book. I could have used other titles, but one of them is called Displaced Persons. And by that, I meant I found out that the stories were set in two very distinct geographical areas. So I divided the book by East and West. And the people in the East, which is mostly situated in Israel, their displacement was these were people from lots of different countries. They were physically displaced. These were refugees from Africa. They were people coming from Russia. There were people from Thailand and the Philippines. So that was the displacement there was more physical and geographical. The other half of the stories are set in the States, and those people are not physically displaced, but they're more internally or emotionally displaced. Some of them live in what we might even call the land of the mentally ill, or they are displaced in their own homes. They don't belong in their families, kind of thing. So displacement became a kind of big umbrella for where you feel at home, where you feel you belong, and that became the title. So the running theme, loosely, very loosely, through all the stories, is that they have something to do with belonging, where what feels like home, what is home. So that kind of thing. That's the overall tone. Overall, but that said, the stories involve all different kinds of characters, men and women and children and young adults, and they're told in first person and third person, and they live in California or New York, or I don't know if there's other parts, most of the East and the West of the States, and or New England and New York. And the Israel stories take place in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, and yeah, and then they involve younger Israelis, older people, American expats, and so it's a whole range of people and situations. So not one situation, but an overall loose theme that might connect them all in some way.